March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb, or so the old saying goes. I come like a preteen boy stroking out his first hair-triggered nut. But enough about ejaculating. It's time to coat your eardrums with hot gobs of ice-cold takes. A fresh episode of the Savage Sack Tap starts now.
You're listening to the Savage Sack Tap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sack Tap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
Oh no, it's the cops. Oh man. Let me unplug this shit real quick and we'll get going. Oh, Savage Sack Tap, Mike Montone, top o' the morning to ye. The 5-0 put a fucking hurtin' on Leprechaun over the weekend. If you're not from the area, the New York area, by which I mean, I hope the camera here for the live stream isn't tilted. It's like the pitfalls of using your fucking cell phone to run your live stream show. I got to get a flip cam or something like that in here. Someday I will have the cash. But no, yeah. So if you're not from the New York area, lovely little town called Hoboken, which I live right on the border of. They are known for just kind of postgraduate. You move here to drink your face off and finger a bunch of people until you eventually, I guess, settle down and have kids. So the town is known for a bit of raucousness, especially with its Irish and Italian populations going back as far as they do. The Catholic holidays, Christmas and St. Paddy's tend to get pretty ridiculous, and St. Patrick's Day is like legendary in fucking Hoboken. So there was forever, it was the St. Patrick's Day parade. They would have a big bar crawl and everything. After a while, they had to move the parade from a Saturday to a weekday because I guess people were having too much fun. And everyone was, I think this was like, I want to say it was around 2011, right around the time I got out of the Marine Corps. And everyone was like, okay, fucking dummies, we're just gonna wear green and go to a bunch of bars on the first Saturday in March anyway. Like, no one gave a shit about the parade. What do you think, we're gonna watch a bunch? Do you think that's why people were getting up early in the morning to watch a bunch of stupid floats and some dickheads and bagpipes? No, nobody gives a shit about that. That was all just an excuse to get hammered at 9 a.m. Fucking silly motherfuckers. Yeah, we want to watch the mayor ride by on a float. That's why we got up this morning. Fuck off. But no, so there was Leprechaun and then SantaCon, which is obviously the big New York City event that people love to shit on every year because people in New York don't know how to have a good time. They started a Hoboken SantaCon because, why not? There are a lot of hot chicks in Hoboken. There are a lot of bars in Hoboken. There are a lot of guys who like to go out to bars where there are hot chicks in Hoboken. And there is nothing better around the holidays than a hot, drunk chick dressed as a sexy Mrs. Claus. Like, it's one of the treats of the holiday season. It makes you want to get out there and stuff a stocking or two. If I may use a euphemism for unprotected sex with a woman who's dressed as Mrs. Claus. So we had that, and a couple of years ago, I guess that got what normal people would consider, it got out of hand. Okay, shut up. 1 second. This thing's being stupid. Sorry. Apologies for the momentary interruption there. I fucking hate when my monitor speakers start crackling. Again, because my student loan paying ass is using monitor speakers that are like 10 years old now that have been through fucking, deployments and continents and everywhere else, and I should probably have higher tech gear. Not the point. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, trying to bang hot chicks dressed as holiday figures. Yeah, so there was that, and I missed it one year. I was going to the gym, actually, my gym happens to be on Washington Street in Hoboken, and as I was walking into the gym, I actually saw some guy dressed as Rudolph getting like perp walked into a paddy wagon, which was hilarious. But in any case, there was that. So they've been like cracking down, and then I feel like sort of the coup de grace of all of this happened at, and you may remember me talking about this story on the podcast a while back when it first went down. The incident at a place called Hub. It was a bar right across from the Path Station, and Kirill, they call him the Slut Whisperer, was throwing a party there. And again, if you go to a party hosted by a guy called the Slut Whisperer, you should assume that, certain things may go on. And I guess this guy is famous for giving chicks like champagne facials. Well, some girls don't like it on their face. They prefer that you turn it over and drop it on their back, which is exactly what they did with the bottle of champagne. A chick was getting fingered on the bar, and I guess her friend got... It's an awesome video. Whoever the chick is has a big, fat, delicious butt. It's amazing. But they were just blasting her hole and her crack with champagne, and someone Snapchatted it, and the video went viral. And some of us thought I thought it was a great promotion for the club. Like, I thought this is a fantastic marketing campaign. I want to hang out at Hub now. Other people did not share that sentiment, and the place got shut down because I guess nobody knows how to have a good time. One sec. But in any case, all of these sort of incidents have resulted in the election of this new mayor who is just cracking down on every element of fun that the town of Hoboken used to have. Like, just absolutely fucking ridiculous. He's one of these, he's a plastic bag ban guy. And you can kind of go from there, you know what I mean? And the way he got elected was, you have, Hoboken used to be a kind of like low rent place right across from New York City, where you would move, like, it was your first spot out of your parents' house before moving into the city if you worked in Manhattan. That was kind of why people moved to Hoboken, because it wasn't that nice of a town, so you could still get a pretty, cheap rent. You cram in with some roommates, and then eventually you grow up and you move into a place in Manhattan. That was sort of the way things went. What happened is Hoboken got nicer and nicer and nicer, and people started saying, well, why the fuck am I going to move into this rat-infested, stinky island, across the river? Why don't I just stay here? New Jersey, everyone knows, is much nicer than New York. We have our share of assholes, but not nearly as many. New York City is like the asshole capital of the world. Why would you subject yourself to all of this bullshit when you can, be fat and happy over here in New Jersey? So that's what people started doing, and people started investing in the town. But a pattern started to develop whereby, people who had come here in their early 20s, who normally would have left either to, move into the city or go out to the suburbs and start families, were just sticking around Hoboken. And then more people, of that late 20s, early 30s age group started moving in. People started having kids here, and slowly it turned into like this enclave of douchey yuppies. So Hoboken went from being a fratty party town, which there are still elements of that, but they're trying to snuff it out, to a town that voted in this mayor. He's a Sikh, and this has nothing to do with his religion, but this fucking it's just like the Turban Man thing is very funny. Like, the state's attorney general is also a Sikh, but he's kind of just indicative. It was like this big thing, like, oh, we elected a man of color, like, oh, like the Sikhs are doing poorly in America. They're really suffering. Like, what a great proud moment. but he gets elected, and he's like a De Blasio Jr. He's De Blasio in a turban, basically. Like he's a complete fun policing douche. So they had the cops dressed up like it was fucking like Ramadi. They're walking around vested up in body armor. They're moving in, fire team sized elements. Which, look, there's a degree to which I actually appreciate that, where it's like, okay, we live now in an era of mass shootings and of people driving U-Hauls down sidewalks and of fucking jihadis running around just slashing people. So there is, to me, an element where it's like, yeah, if you're going to have a lot of people out walking the streets, celebrating, having a good time, more pedestrian traffic than usual, you totally do need a bigger police presence just for protection. Like it's the New York area, there's a target on our back every year. You leave the house in the New York City area, and you are essentially leaving with a big fucking, target on your back for ISIS. Like we assume the potential for an attack every day around here. If you're not from the rest of the country, I realize you guys think ISIS and Al-Qaeda are a threat to you. Fucking not the way it is around here. Like I've done the count before on this show, how many times, literally when I say the New York area, I mean the immediate New York City area has been attacked by these cocksuckers, and it's absurd. So I get that element of it. The problem is the mayor was sitting outside of this bar, the Shannon, in his SUV, like he's the fucking Untouchables, like he's let's do some good. It's Kevin Costner in a turban now. I walked out of the bar to go get a slice of pizza, and my buddy points out. He's like, hey, it's the mayor. He's sitting outside the bar, and that's the mayor's SUV. I just started booing because fuck that guy for ruining a good time for everybody, and it's just unnecessary. It was an unnecessary show of police force. It's a waste of tax money. You could have had cops out on the street striking a less intimidating figure, and I don't mean to say that as though I'm intimidated by the cops, but it was very clear the intent of having all of those police officers out. And I think for St. Patrick's Day they should actually, instead of having them decked out in body armor, they should have them walk around like an old like a Tammany Hall era corrupt New York City Irish cop, like, all right then, be move along, nothing to see here. And he's just accepting money from bootleggers and criminals, and that would be fun to me. But instead, like, we went into the first bar we went into is the kind of place that would usually be just a drunken festival of chino and denim covered genitals grinding up against each other on a puke scented dance floor. It was fucking empty. It was like, you ever go to a college house party and you're one of the first people to arrive because maybe it's like your buddy's house or something like that, and it's like it's 12 dudes and 2 chicks standing around a fucking keg with the music is blasting, and you're like, we're supposed to be having a good time, but it hasn't quite kicked off yet. That is sort of the vibe that we experienced at the first bar we went to, thanks to these assholes. And the bartenders were pretty much like, yeah, the cops fucked this day up. The bouncer said the same thing. They're like, we were talking to the one bartender. She's like, yeah, I've been texting with my friends all over town. It's fucking dead. I think everyone wound up kind of circulating to the Shannon, which, I'll discuss that in a moment, was the bar we wound up at. It's kind of centrally located. It's near the pizza places. It's near the other bars, and it's very old and very popular. So it almost felt like every St. Patrick's Day person, every leprechauner, wound up at that bar. Like, I honestly think that everyone who went out for the day in Hoboken wound up at the Shannon. But before we got to the Shannon, we were over at another bar on Washington Street, and it was, despite the Navy SEALs providing security out on the street, it was a fun day. We ripped through a shitload of booze, like 8 of us in my brother's apartment. We were it was just a bunch of guys watching the 2015 NLDS watching Game 5, watching the Mets beat the Dodgers, listening to Dropkick Murphys and drinking car bombs, which is a great way to start any St. Patrick's Day. I think you watch a baseball game from September with a bunch of guys and get drunk. Who could, or October, but yeah, that's how everyone celebrates St. Patrick's Day, right? But we were slapping each other in the nuts and getting hammered, and just basically the kind of shit that goes on if you throw a bunch of dudes in a room with booze and no pussy. But yeah, big fun to be had. Then at the bar there was a lot of, well, I don't want to say a lot of, because it was really only there were 4 chicks there, and I think 2 of them were lesbians. But there's something about a white woman and an empty dance floor, and they just they will put on their own little one-woman twerk show. And the one chick was doing it. She kept repeating her bar entrance like she was dancing into the bar, and was making her boyfriend Snapchat the entire thing, catch it for Snapchat, and she would come look at it, and if it wasn't good enough, she would go back and do it again. And this happened at least a half a dozen fucking times. And it makes you realize, you're like, oh, I just went through a very, very sad breakup, and it's, you feel terrible, and then you realize, oh no, I don't have, you don't have to do bullshit like that, which is fantastic. That's it, you have to look at the pros and cons of things. And then there's the other white chick, clapping her cheeks out on the floor, which I love this move. They do this, and if you're not experienced, if you're a rookie bar goer, you'll be like, oh man, that chick totally wants it, and you'll fucking shimmy up and try to thrust that dick up at her. The thing is, they don't want it. If you see a chick doing that on the dance floor, what they're doing is they're trying to empower themselves through dance. So if a guy comes up and tries to unless it's the Chad of all Chads, it would have to be Brad Pitt, by the way. Then they might dance. But generally speaking, unless you're a fucking 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, they're gonna reject you, because they love the idea that they are thrusting their pussy about to the beat of the music, and that men want them, but that they can just push them away willy-nilly. Sort of another salvo in the Me Too battle, I guess. But I have gone to the ball. My married buddy Wilkins. We were out way back at Wicked Willie's down in the West Village a few years ago, and some chick was doing one of these. He's like, I don't know why you and any of you single pussies aren't trying to dance with this chick. And I had to explain to him that that's exactly what she wants is for guys to approach, so she can kind of flick them aside like a snuffed out cigarette butt. It's a very interesting socio-economic dynamic at play there. But yeah, we also had a banana-shaped flask, which if you check out the Facebook and the Instagram pages, facebook.com/SavageCrew, at Gary_Moiler, Moyler on Instagram. I'll plug those again later. You can see me standing on the street pretending to get a blowjob as my buddy drinks out of a banana-shaped flask. Good, clean fun. And we had a snowball fight, too. But the absolute move of the day, I think, for Leprechaun goes to my brother Joey, JT the Twink. You've seen him on the show before. Slender young homosexual who is marrying a lovely young woman who will be his beard until certain things come out of the closet. He went to the Cuban place around the corner, and I guess was drinking red wine, because of course that is the traditional St. Patrick's Day meal is Cuban food and a bottle of red, right? I remember that. He's like, me mother, she used to make a batch of empanadas every morning. The fattened carbs coated me father's belly before a long day on the drink. We lost them both to the famine. That's pulled straight from it's a passage from Angela's Ashes, Frank McCourt. Beautiful novel, memoir actually. Yeah, his time growing up in Ireland, eating Cuban food. Fucking arroz. We had arroz con pollo boyo. But yeah, we wound up at a little Irish pub called the Shannon over on it's on like First and Washington, and it had been a while since the Montones had been to the Shannon as a collective. The last time we were there was, I think, 2010. I was home on leave from Okinawa, Japan, and my brother and I we were there with a bunch of people. Our squad was rolling mad deep, yo. And we got into a fight with a couple. I'm not quite sure what happened. I think I had been like chatting with some girl at the bar, and it turned out she was there with her boyfriend, which I did not realize at the time. And I was coming out of the bathroom and I saw her again, and I said hi to her, and her boyfriend must have seen it and was not pleased and dove out of nowhere and tried to tackle me, but I caught him almost like someone was tossing me like a pitch in football, right at like belly level. Like I almost like took it like a handoff. He like wrapped me around the waist, and I just pretty much caught him by the head, and we went to the ground, and I had him like just like wrapped up tight. I was like, that is the dumbest way to attack someone ever. You fucking, what in God's name were you thinking? As this was going on, my brother comes running over, and I guess the girlfriend thought that he was going to like jump on her boyfriend's back and it was going to be a 2-on-1, so before he could even get close, she just wound up and took a swing at his face, and the bouncers saw the entire thing go down, so my brother and I didn't really get blamed. They kicked the couple out, but they were like, look, you guys should probably get out of here before the fucking police show up. They're like, yeah, that's also I believe that's also a good idea. So we left, and I had not been, I don't know if I had been to the Shannon again in a while. I'm sure I was, but not with any great frequency. That's kind of the time that sticks out the most, but yeah, fucking Joey takes the red wine bottle from his Cuban St. Patrick's Day dinner, and he somehow brings it into the, I don't know how he pulled that off, because, again, cops everywhere, security very tight, and Hoboken bars do not look kindly upon bringing in outside food and beverages. So he's pouring glasses of wine in plain sight of the bartenders, and then I look, and 2 minutes later, I see a member of the bar staff just like walking through with a fucking bottle of red hoisted above her head. I'm like, oh, I hope they cannot trace that one back to us, because I recognize that bottle. And she was definitely on the lookout for anyone with a fucking bottle of red. I forget the rest of the lyrics to that song. I was singing it on the fucking show last week. Anyway, she was definitely looking for the culprit. I'm like, you are a fucking retard, Joey. But tremendous move, sneaking a bottle of red into fucking the Shannon on Leprechaun. But yeah, what a delight. The next few days were rough, man. I woke up very early the next morning, and I have a love-hate relationship with being hungover in this place. It's like this dark little cavern. So in theory, it should be a great place to just sleep off a hangover. But my upstairs neighbor, aka the landlord, is very noisy and an early riser. So it'll be like 6, and he'll be walking. First you'll hear him fucking his girlfriend for 5 minutes and coming all over the place, and then he's like on the phone shouting at a buddy, and I'm like, oh, my fucking head is pounding. I'm having fucking hot flashes. Apparently I was pretty dehydrated. Who would have thought that drinking all day, booze only, and like not an ounce of water would result in feeling a tad miserable the next morning. And then I get nasty hangover anxiety. I don't know about you guys. Like if I drink, I have like anxiety attacks for like the next 2-3 days. Finally, I think it was yesterday, Wednesday. I did my drinking on Saturday, and Sunday wasn't terrible because I kind of once I woke up, I like got out of bed, took a shower, like, started just doing things and being productive. But like, Monday and Tuesday, by the end of each day at work, I was just like on fucking edge. Like, you know that if you've ever been a hard drinker, you know exactly the feeling I'm talking about. Your body's, you're dehydrated, you get no fucking nutrients, and your body's screaming at you because it's going into a depression from the lack of booze in your system, and it's just like, just give me a fucking beer, give me a shot, give me something to make this better. But yeah, it was bad, and then like, when I'm around idiots, like, I don't need my anxiety to be set off any more than it already is. Okay, like, I do this because I need a fucking outlet for all that built up shit inside of my fucking brain. But when I'm around complete fucking idiots, my anxiety gets like 10 times worse. Like, they just set it off, and it irritates me, and it's terrible. I got stuck Monday morning with just two complete fucking dopes on the elevator. And I know you're saying it's an elevator ride, it's like 30 seconds, but here's what fucking pissed me off. I work in a huge office building in New York City, and if I know there's some of you, again, not from this area, who, I'm assuming most of you have been in a building like this. If you haven't, it's got a fucking elevator bank of 8 elevators, okay? So if you miss one elevator, it's going to be approximately 7 seconds before the next elevator comes. So I always try to get, if it's early in the morning when I go in, and I'm usually in, around 7:30, everyone can have their own elevator. You could ride it up and down by yourself and not inconvenience a soul. I'm getting in, and I close the door, and I hear these like footsteps pounding, and some guy reaches through and, hold that elevator, and I have to do the thing where I, pretend to do it, because you never know if it's going to be someone you know or work with or see on a regular basis, and it turns out these dipshits actually were going to my floor. But what the fuck is that move? There are 7 other elevators. There's going to be one there in 2 seconds. No one's using them. Just push the fucking button and take the next one. Instead, you're jamming an arm in the door. I have to fucking stick a hand out there. We're both risking severing a fucking limb because what you had to get on the, like, I guess it's just this impulse, like, people are like, that's the elevator, I gotta take it. And this happens all the fucking time. We'll be on the elevator, the door will be about to close, and someone will come, like, walking up, and people will be, like, pushing the button to keep the doors open, and they'll be holding it, and it's just like, no, dickhead, just get the next fucking elevator. You always want less people in an elevator, I think, because they're not big, there's not a lot of space. If this thing does get stuck, if we're all in here, breathing each other's air and fighting for oxygen and fucking farting and having to go to the bathroom, you ideally want as few people as possible in there. You want you and maybe someone who happens to carry Tic Tacs in case you get hungry. That's, if the elevator gets stuck. That's all you really want. That's the max you want on an elevator, I think, is at 2. 2 isn't even good. You want, if you're going to have anything, 3, because then you have a kind of a person to defer to if, there's no awkward conversation. 2 can be kind of awkward. But in any case, the ideal number is just 1, and an elevator unto oneself. But if you have to ride with people, I guess 3 is the max. But let's stop saving elevators unnecessarily, is what I'm saying, okay? Just stop it. You don't need to. The next elevator is coming. It's not like they don't go up and then never return. It's not like, it's not like a flight. It's not like if you miss a plane or a train or something like that, and you're going to be waiting around for, an hour for the next one. No, it's an elevator. It's coming back. There will be another one there by the time those doors closed. If you hadn't jammed your fucking arm inside, the next elevator would probably be showing up. So just stop it. I'm tired of the societal commitment to hold fucking elevators. And this has been driving me nuts because it's just happened on so many occasions. And it's just dumb and unnecessary. And I don't want to fucking ride the elevator with you anyway and listen to you and your dipshit friends make terrible small talk. It's just no. Just cut it the fuck out. Ugh. Fucking morning. Let me jam my arm in here. Risk an unplanned amputation. Fucking dope. People are weird. That's all I can come to, and that's like I kind of have to have that whoosah moment there where I could choose to let it ruin my day, or I can just take out my phone, put it on my little memo pad, and I'll be like, you know what? All right, deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. I will bitch about this on the Savage Sack Tap later on. There's no need to get riled up right now. But yeah, look, people are strange. You just gotta you have to get used to the quirks of your fellow man, I guess. I have my own quirks. I walk around my studio apartment ass fucking naked because I can. Every once in a while when I'm cleaning, I'll find a pube on the kitchen floor and I'll be like, how did that get here? And I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. You got out of the shower the other day and you decided to walk to the refrigerator fucking balls flapping naked. That's how it happened. That's why there are pubes on the kitchen floor. Not a lot or frequently. I clean them up. Like I wouldn't, I mean, you know. Some people wouldn't call it. It's definitely not spick and span, but for single dude living in a studio, it's clean. So the relative number of pubes on the floor is pretty low. But every once in a while, but yeah, people are weird. Tom Brady, huge fucking weirdo, kisses his son on the mouth. Who the fuck does that? And I always think that's why you can't be intimidated by people, because every person has weirdo shit that they do. You know, you see Tom Brady, all-American football stud with a smoking hot supermodel wife. I see a skinny weirdo who doesn't eat cheeseburgers and mouth kisses his young son, okay? Tom Brady, big fucking weirdo. And I think that's also a reason, and I'm finding this as being newly single again, and it's not something I totally understood when I was younger. Not that I was ever, like, super intimidated by chicks. You hang out with them enough and you realize some of them are pretty fucking dumb, and, you know, you're smarter than them because you're a man. So it's like, okay. But, like, guys, if you're a guy who gets intimidated by hot chicks and you're, like, afraid to, you know, go up and shoot your shot and try to get laid, think about this. If you see a hot chick at a bar, there is a good chance that same hot chick fucking, like, picks her nose while taking a shit and then flicks the boogs all over the place and doesn't do a very good job of wiping her asshole and walks around with kind of a stinky hole all day and at least a nose that's free of boogers. But yeah, even hot chicks are out there doing total weirdo shit. You know, she might do that terrible wipe job on her otherwise delightful pooper, and then not wash her hands. She could have feces underneath those acrylic fingernails. So, you know, if you see a hot girl at the bar and you're like, ah, man, she's out of my league, man, she's too hot for me. Just remember, this chick probably has feces on her fingertips. And then, you know, the pussy is it's no longer on the pedestal. But speaking of hot chicks and bad behavior, happy 20th is it anniversary or birthday for a movie? I guess anniversary, right? 20th anniversary of Cruel Intentions coming out. Holy fuckballs! I did not realize that. Cruel Intentions used to get me boned up like a mug, son. I saw it for the first time in 8th grade, and if you're unfamiliar with Cruel Intentions, it's Reese Witherspoon, Ryan Phillippe, Selma Blair. It's Sarah Michelle Gellar? Is she the hot chick from Buffy? Star-studded fucking cast. Great movie. Basically about these like really wealthy New York City teenagers who they're just constant. It's almost like a fucking like a would it be Gen, I gotta be Gen X, right? Like Gen X is, yeah, I think Gen X. Gen X's like version of Great Gatsby, where there's just all of these like improper sexual dalliances and drugs and cool cars and fancy clothes, and cocaine, fucking cane. And I was in 8th grade getting ready to go. I was so fucking pumped for high school. Like I thought I was gonna be like cruising around in a sweet ride with a great pair of shades on, dressed fancy as fuck, getting down with all these sluts. There was this iconic scene where fucking Buffy and Selma Blair are like having a picnic in the park, and they make out, and you may remember it was parodied by not another teen movie, but just hot as fuck. And when you're in 8th grade, remember before the days of streaming HD porn, when a light breeze could get you rock hard. Oh my dude, OMG, I was so fucking ready for high school, and then reality set in. I wound up driving an '88 Volvo because I got kicked off my parents' insurance because I fucking smashed my mom's Explorer into my buddy's car. And then I don't know. It was mostly like, I drank a Natty Light, drank a lot of Natty Light, played a lot of football, engaged in copious amounts of vandalism. Masturbation aplenty, but I don't know if that counts as a sexual dalliance. That's more of just a several times daily habit for me at this point. Although I did, I was the first one in I don't know. I don't want to say Glen Rock High School history because I'm sure there were pioneers before me who did so. In fact, I can think of one and his girlfriend off the top of my head now, a few years older. But definitely the first guy in my grade to plow his girlfriend in the ass. So I guess that counts as a sexual dalliance, right? Kennedy, if Kennedy would have done it, it counts as a sexual dalliance, and I'm sure Kennedy popped a pooper or two. So sure, I had at least that. At least I got the sexual dalliance in there. Didn't get to the cocaine until I was in college, though. Good stuff. But yeah, I plowed my girlfriend in the ass, and the entire school found out about it. And my friend somehow managed to slip in the fact that I may or may not have sodomized her with an art instrument as well. And although I do consider my penis a work of art, they were referring to a felt-tipped purple Crayola marker. That part of it did not happen. I have my theories as to how that got worked in there, but that's for a different episode altogether. But yeah, fuck man, Cruel Intentions. I gotta watch that. It's been. I don't know if I have watched it since high school. That was one of those movies where if you were going to hang with a chick, like do the old, like Saturday night, before there was, these dipshits think that they invented Netflix and chill. No, that always existed. Trying to bang someone by inviting them over to watch a movie has been a thing for a long, long time. We were doing that in the fucking late 90s, early 2000s. I'm sure it went on before that. I think as soon as the video rental place became a thing, guys were like, hey, I can keep a captive audience on my couch for 2+ hours. Let me, give me, I'm going to need Glory and, all 3 Godfathers if you have them. Yeah, let me get those. It's movie night. And just calling up, whatever chick you could get to come over, and you turn those lights down, make some popcorn, get the blanket out and get cozy and try to score yourself come back from putting in the second VHS, and looks like I'm packing a bit of a rock. Could you give me some relief? That it's just kid stuff. Come on, I need relief. And I will give you a brief relief from me running my suck about high school hand jobs to let you know that you can find the Savage Sack Tab all over social media. Facebook.com/The Savage Crew is where you're checking out the live stream right now, if you're watching the live stream. Otherwise, what was I going to say? Social media, something. Oh, yeah. Otherwise, you can find me on the Twitter at Mike Montone. I very much enjoy doing the tweeting, as the kids call it. On Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. And the show, the audio version of the podcast, lives over at thesavagecrew.libsyn.com. Libsyn. And you can also, if you like to listen, Podbean, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, iTunes, all that other shit, up at the top of the Facebook page, again, facebook.com/thesavagecrew, I've left a link to everywhere that you can download. So just go to your kind of, spot du jour for finding podcasts, and you will find it. And good luck with all that. Look, it's 2019. I shouldn't have to tell you guys how to use the fucking internet, but that's just how it goes. A couple fun stories coming up real quick. We got about looks like I got about 20, 30 minutes left here. Yeah. We have a reporter got licked and a dumbass got eaten. Let me just fire up the old tablet here. Should have charged it overnight. Didn't. Down to 19%. It should hold out. Here we go. I need to get a little... I've my coffee first thing in the morning, and sometimes I'm a little cotton-mouthy. There we go. Yeah, for those of you listening to the audio version of the podcast, this is being recorded at 5 a.m., so bear with me on any momentary retardation. But here it is. This went down in Canada. I guess a comedian licked a reporter during a live shot, which one of my favorite things in the world is when reporters get fucked with during live shots, because there is no one more sanctimonious and annoying than the fucking press. This guy, CBC reporter Chris Glover, shares his thinking about the on-camera harassment he faced on the job and why he took it to police. Oh, this should be rich. Can I get this vertical? Yes. Yes, and 3. Marv Albert. We really gave Marv Albert a... Talk about fucking sex-shaming a guy. Remember when that came out, that Marv Albert liked to be spanked and do a little bit of biting and wear women's underwear? What? It was so... He didn't do anything wrong to anyone, right? He was just a freak. People shouldn't be shamed for that kind of stuff. Anyway, all right, this asshole writes this. I guess they had him write the article. I report the news every day, but this week I inadvertently became the news. In a bizarre and humiliating situation, a total stranger licked, kissed, and nibbled on my earlobe, neck, and shoulder while I was on live television. Okay, this is my first problem with it. People are acting like he got ambushed and harassed out of nowhere, and I haven't watched the video yet. Let me see if it's embedded. No, they didn't. I guess they don't want to give the guy who did it too much publicity or some shit. I thought it was just a quick, a guy came up and licked him real quick, like a hit and run, got out of there, licked, kissed, and nibbled your ear all the way down to the shoulder. At some point, that goes from him accosting you on the street to it being consensual foreplay. If you don't, if you don't say no, he's got to assume you're consenting, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of a hot gay public encounter. In the now viral video of the altercation at Toronto's Comedy Bar on Tuesday night, you see me at my most uncomfortable. I smiled and tried to soldier on with an awkward laugh. Make no mistake, though, I was not having any fun and didn't invite this touching. Which I get. I don't like to be fucking grabbed or touched either, especially out of nowhere and from behind, and especially by some fucking dude. But at the same time, if a fucking dude did grab me like that, you can guarantee... I elbowed my own uncle in the fucking ribs once because he fucking jumped me like that as a fucking joke, and it was his birthday. So if you don't think I will throw a fucking bow into your sternum for fucking grabbing my ass, you have no fucking clue. So I don't understand. You don't. No one is expecting you to, take it like a champ if you're getting groped and kissed and licked uncomfortably. But if you're gonna stand there and do it outside of a fucking comedy club while a comedian fucks with you, then we're going to assume that maybe you're like in on the joke. He continues. Was I harassed? Was I assaulted? Was it a sexual assault? These are all questions people have been asking, myself included. No, that's bullshit. You know if you've been sexually assaulted. There shouldn't be a question of if something happens whether you were sexually assaulted. Now there can be situations that make you feel sexually uncomfortable, but those would not, it's not incumbent upon you to elevate those to the level of sexual assault, and this clearly, if you're a reporter and you're doing a live shot, you've probably been fucked with before. You know you're being fucked with. You know people like to be fuck with you. Like there was the whole, the grab her by the pussy, and people started referring to that as sexual harassment. And I don't know when the live shot reporter became this we have to treat them like it's a fucking a nun. You can't to be nice. We have to be good to the live shot report. No, it's a well-paid douche telling people what to do and think. They can kind of be fucked with a little bit. At first, I was unsure whether I wanted to involve the police. I wasn't physically injured. I just felt mortified and embarrassed. Really? Again, how self-absorbed do you have to be that embarrassed? I don't know what crime label might ultimately be placed on this, if any at all. Yeah, good start, if any at all. But I decided to go to the police because I know this shouldn't happen to anyone else. This makes me want to take up Opie and Anthony's war on the media again. And if you don't know what that is, what they used to do was they would find like reporters doing live shots, and guys would like hold up Opie and Anthony signs or like fucking wave dildos in the background, and they would fuck up live shots by doing that. I kind of want to go buy the biggest dildo I can find and just leave it in my backpack, so that if I'm ever out and see a reporter doing a live shot, I can just take it and start doing like a cha-cha-cha, like waving a dildo like an American flag in the background. People online have applauded my professionalism and calm reaction. Many have said they may have taken a different, decidedly more violent approach if they were in my place. Yeah, I mean, honestly, look, if it's that bad, if you get grabbed by somebody on the fucking street and you're like, oh, I feel violated, you're gonna fucking snatch that motherfucker, or you're gonna try to get out of there. In this instance, outside of a comedy club on like a what was it, like a fucking Saturday night? Any night, it's always Saturday night at a comedy club. If you're outside of a comedy club at night, and you have a fucking camera out, you better assume that some shit's gonna happen. Like, honestly, yeah, maybe we can totally say that that it's wrong to go up and lick a stranger's ear. I get that. I am 100% on board with that, but at the same time, if you have a video camera outside of a comedy club at night and you are the straight-laced street reporter doing a fucking live shot, then guess what's gonna happen? People are going to fuck with you, because the type of people who frequent comedy clubs love to fuck with people. I know this because I frequent comedy clubs, and me and the people that I frequent comedy clubs with love to fuck with people. So just chill the fuck out. You can't really know how you would react or understand what it's like until you're faced with it. It's difficult to express the confusion and awkwardness of knowing a live camera is rolling and not wanting to overreact to a scenario you're still trying to piece together as it's unfolding around you. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That he wasn't bothered by it, and he's kind of like, oh, that's it. whatever. He probably thought it was like a goofy, awkward thing. If you were truly in that moment bothered by this, that you would have fucking dropped the motherfucker. No one is so professional that they can be grabbed and not tune somebody up. And especially on fucking camera when, everyone's watching, they see what's happening, you have been accosted, if that's what people are going to refer to this as, then if we're looking at this as an assault, then that would follow that you would also have the right to just drop this dude. Obviously, that's not what happened. Oh, he says, I love my job because I love meeting new people in the community and hearing their stories, but occasionally, when doing live hits on location, people will get too close for comfort. Yeah, too close for comfort. You guys want to hear a story about someone getting too close for comfort during a live hit? This was a few years ago. A reporter was out doing a live shot, and I guess, I think it was like a jilted ex-boyfriend fucking showed up and fucking shot her, and I don't know if it was the cameraman or if he fucking murdered this chick live on the air, and then I think he killed himself. But yeah, like that's someone hurting or harassing you or injuring you during a live shot. Not a fucking comedian coming up and fucking with you by licking your ear. The guy was probably a little stoned, probably, a little whatever. He's fucking, again, a comic outside of a comedy club at night, and he sees a camera. He's gonna do something silly and fucked up. He says, I'm trained to do my best to roll with it, but it can be a vulnerable experience. I put my trust in the people around me, and in this case, that trust was violated. You know how often the fucking press violates the trust of the fucking viewing public? Every day. It is the most full of shit. At least, you know what? People say, like, advertisers and stuff are full of shit, and politicians are full of shit. At least they are expected to be full of shit because they're trying to sell you on something. The press, who is supposed to be trusted above all, will fuck with you and feed you misinformation and bullshit out their fucking ass. And it is just, there's all so fucking sanctimonious that honestly, there is a bit of, and again, I'm not saying that it's right to go up and lick a stranger, but what I am saying is that when someone hears about a reporter getting fucked with in a harmless, childish manner, it brings a great deal of joy, because journalists, and I am the son of a journalist, I work for a news organization, journalists can be some of the biggest assholes on the planet. There are some amazing ones out there who I've met and I love and I consider close friends, and obviously I love my father. He is a reporter. Technically, what he does constitutes journalism. But holy fucking shit, if you hear the way they talk, you would think that they're performing open heart surgery every day instead of standing outside of the fucking Chuckle Hut interviewing people about their favorite stand-up routine. Like, get the fuck out of here. Let's see, are we almost... yeah, a couple paragraphs. Some people have remarked that someone should have stepped in. They've asked why the camera guy kept filming, or why the control room didn't cut away. Probably because this guy's an asshole and people just kind of like, oh, this is fucking great. What's this guy's name? I don't know what his name is. Let's call him Todd. Like, oh, Todd's getting his right now. I fucking hate this dickhead. I see him in the break room every day, and he's just a complete asshole. Actually, like, I think that's what people at work probably say about me. But, he just, obviously people can't stand this guy, and we're just like, oh, this is good. Yeah, let him roll. We're getting great footage. Yeah, no, this will be good for the Christmas party. We'll run it during the slideshow. Oh, this is fantastic stuff. That you probably hear chuckling in the background. It's the cameraman. He's probably like, good fucking faggot. I fucking hate this guy. Yeah, no, lick him more. Yeah, he probably likes it. Yeah, fuck this dick. But yeah, despite excellent training and preparation for hostile environments. No, not hostile environment. Comedy club. You know what a hostile environment is for a journalist? When Lara Logan was in fucking Ramadi, when she was at the fucking provincial government center and they were getting shelled and taking sniper fire every day. That's a journalist in a hostile environment. Nick Berg from the Wall Street Journal, who had his head chopped off in Pakistan. Hostile environment. Douche getting licked by other douche on camera outside comedy club. Not hostile environment. Despite excellent training and preparation for hostile environment, it's human nature to be stunned in unexpected and uncomfortable situations. I don't fault them. I've heard from many people who were uncomfortable watching the video. I, too, have a visceral reaction when watching it. I have a visceral reaction when watching it, too. It's called laughter. But it's important for people to see. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time a journalist has been harassed on the job, and far too often, it's my female colleagues who are targeted. His name's Chris Glover. Douche. Your female... Again, a chick getting her tits grabbed or something like that, absolutely. Harassment. Shouldn't do that. But like I said, they've been starting to throw the grab her by the pussy gag in with harassment. Like, it's been happening, and I guess people who aren't in on the joke, that, like, the joke is to get grab her by the pussy into a live shot. They just think that the guy's like sexually harassing the woman, when really it's just the fun of getting a vulgarity onto live TV is where you could say suck him by the cock and people would still think it was just as funny. The original guy who did it went with grab her by the pussy or grab him by the pussy, and that was it. That's what it is. That's not harassment. It's a goof. It's funny. You can say something that would, under serious circumstances, constitute harassment, and it won't be harassment. And that is a case in which I believe that applies. He says, "We deserve to be treated with respect while doing our job, just like transit operators, retail workers, nurses, politicians, and all other professions who are routinely the targets of harassment on the job." First of all, the politicians get harassed on the job because of the press, and also because a lot of politicians are assholes. But yeah, you're right. Nurses don't deserve to be harassed on the job because they are providing vital medical care. Again, they're not doing a live shot outside of a fucking comedy club. They're in the ICU treating burn victims and premature babies, or they're making sure people with broken limbs get tended to. Yeah, nurses are worthy of the utmost respect. Probably, in my opinion, there are few people on this planet who deserve more respect than fucking nurses working graveyard shifts on fucking holidays away from their families. Not fucking assholes making a couple $100,000 a year for CBC to stand outside of the fucking Laugh Factory, you fucking dick. Retail workers. I could go either way on that one. It's kind of thankless. I've worked retail before, but a lot of retail workers are also fucking assholes who probably have it coming. Transit operators. Yeah, I don't know, yeah, you probably shouldn't attack the guy driving the bus. That's just good old-fashioned common sense. But yeah, he said, "I want to acknowledge the support and kind messages I've received over the past 2 days from outraged social media users and fellow journalists." Because if there's ever been a collective who is always on the right side of things, it's journalists and outraged social media users. Yeah, just go down that collective's resume and look at what a fucking asshole. Who is this? But also from concerned comedians. I find that hard to believe because I have a special page on my Twitter that is literally dedicated to following comedians, and not a one has expressed concern or outrage over this. In fact, most have been like, "Hey, this is kind of hilarious, and fuck this guy, because he's kind of an uptight square. Comedy is funny. fuck off. That's been the comedian's response that I've seen. So I don't know what concerned comedians he's talking about. He says, I'm glad the man who attacked me apologized and took responsibility for his. How Canadian is? I heard the shame in his voice when he spoke to CBC Toronto. I'm sorry for licking your face, That wasn't right. That wasn't very funny, I should have just yelled grab her by the pussy, You want some maple syrup and pancakes? We can get some. Ooh, let's get some poutine, I didn't know that poutine was disco fries until a few years ago, and then this hot fucking smoke in my sports medicine class was talking about it. She's Canadian. Oh my God, I wanted to lick that chick's asshole so badly. And then I realized that if she was eating poutine on a regular basis, she probably had a pretty stinky asshole. Also, she was engaged, so I wasn't getting in there. But anyway, I hope this embarrassment serves as a lesson to others to think before they act. I know I was at a comedy event, and he thought at the time it was a joke, but nothing about this is funny. Actually, I think everything about it is funny, right up to the fucking stupid op-ed that you wrote for... You're a CBC News reporter, and it appeared on cbc.ca. So yeah, it's just you using your platform to grandstand about how fucking great the press is. And I had another article about this queued up. Oh, I love the picture. I'm definitely going to include a freeze shot of this creep in horn-rimmed glasses going up and licking this motherfucker's ear. I promise I will share this. If I don't share it, someone remind me to. That's good shit. Okay, I was going to do the other article, but I think we got enough out of that. Come on. There we go. I just want to X out of this bullshit. Okay. What do we got? Okay, I do have to hurry up because we're over an hour here, and I've been trying to keep these pretty tight. But I wanted to briefly, speaking of complete fucking idiots, Czech man gets mauled to death by lion he kept in his backyard. And like I said on the Facebook page the other day when I originally shared this story, I think there is a direct correlation between lion ownership and incidences of death by mauling. Not a lot of people who don't have lions or tigers or bears around them getting mauled. Maybe a pit bull if you have a shitty owner or if it's a really bad dog. But generally speaking, if you do not have any fucking wild game running around your property, you probably won't experience death by mauling. But a man who kept a 9-year-old lion in his backyard, that's a big fucking cat too, by the way. 9 years old for a lion? Holy shit. It's not like the lions don't age like humans do. Like, you know, if lions aged relative to humans, I would think I'd still be able to kick a 9-year-old lion's ass, but not the case. Kept a 9-year-old lion in his backyard, was found mauled to death in eastern Czech Republic. Wow. I didn't think anyone in the Czech Republic could afford a lion, first of all. I thought that was like one of those super poor Eastern European countries where you can buy like a lobster dinner and 10 chicks will work your cock at the same time for like 15 cents. But I guess Eurotrip lied to me. Mikhail Prasek's father found his mangled body in the lion's cage, which had been locked from the inside. Well, there's your... Aside from the whole keeping a lion on your property, which I admit, if I had a huge plot of land somewhere in like Texas where the laws regarding this stuff are kind of loose, I would probably own a lion or something like that because they are badass. But if I had to keep it in a cage that I had to get into with it, I'd probably pass on the lion and maybe just go for like a nice little calico or like a Siamese, Mr. Bigglesworth. You don't get the lion. I understand there are cat people out there, but just something a little more docile. Michael Prasek's father found his mangled body in the lion's cage, which had been locked from the inside. Yeah, don't lock yourself in with the lion is like the crux of that. In addition to the lion, Prosick had another lioness on his property for breeding purposes, which had drawn concerns from local residents. So this guy was trying to put together like an entire pride of lions on his property, which I want to say I can respect, and it would be totally cool to just look out your window and see two lions fucking in the backyard and making all sorts of lion babies, and you would never have to deal with, you probably don't have to deal with raccoons getting into your garbage can because the lions are they're gonna take care of that population control. It's not like there's zebras running around out there, so they're gonna eat what they can get their hands on. So think about rats, mice, possums, skunks, raccoons, all that bullshit. You don't have to deal with if you've got lions on your property. So I do recognize that there are some advantages to lion ownership. I'm just not sure this guy was doing it right. The animals, which were in separate pens. Oh, so this male lion is probably furious. He's looking at this fucking hot piece of pussy over on the other side of the yard. There's not another lion in sight. It's like being trapped on a desert island with a woman. You know you're fucking eventually. Eventually, she's going to want to scratch that itch, and you're the only one around to do it with. And fucking, double-clicking the old mouse gets old after a while. So you've got this fucking, you're keeping a beast that's used to fucking roaming the plains of the Serengeti inside of a fucking cage, and all he wants to do is eat meat and fuck the way lions are supposed to, and he's got this hot piece of ass staring at him from across the yard, and he can't get to it because you decide when he gets to have his little fucking feline conjugal visits, and so you decide to lock yourself inside the cage, and he's like, all right, dickhead, you know what? Now it's getting taken out on you. Now I'm going to murder your ass and rape and eat your lifeless fucking carcass. The animals, which were in separate pens, were shot and killed by authorities. A police officer told local media the shootings were absolutely necessary for them to get to the man. Well, no, I feel like that's bullshit. You only had to shoot the one, not fucking both of them. To shoot the one that killed him. Like, I don't want the lion to die, but I get it. Although, I guess if he's dead when you show up, why not just let the lion finish him off and then bring in the animal control people, fucking tranquilize both of them, and then ship them to the zoo or back to Africa. Mayor Thomas Kukaruk said the incident will perhaps finally help to resolve this long-term problem. I love that harsh Eastern European fatalist. Yes, we finally bring conclusion to harsh long-term problem. I guess this guy, he's 34. He bought the lion in 2016 and the lioness last year. Previously, he had been fined for illegal breeding. I think that's what they're going after R. Kelly for that too, and lacked planning permits for the pens. He didn't go to a town council meeting and apply for a zoning variance to build a lion pen in his backyard, so everyone hates him. Prosick, you have to say their name in sort of Prosick. Refused to let any authorities onto his property, and an impasse ensued over the animals. For such badass people, these Eastern Europeans, I think of like these fucking hardy, salt-of-the-earth, can't-be-fucked-with motherfuckers walking around in just gray skies. Everyone owns a Kalashnikov. They couldn't get into this asshole's backyard. Well, what's it take? A few of you with machine guns to walk back there and be like, look, dude, we're not cool with the lion getting out of the fucking cage and attacking our children in the as they sleep in the middle of the night. Which, by the way, that shit happens in India. The fucking apparently, the way a cat can sneak up on you in your house, like if you have a kitten and it'll come out of nowhere. That is apparently exactly the way lions and tigers show up when they're ready to murk your ass. Like you don't hear a growl from far, from 100 yards away and have like a bunch of lead time to run. Apparently, they just jump you out of nowhere. So yeah, if I was living in a lion or tiger infested neighborhood and I found out the dude that owned them had gotten fucking murked, I'd be pretty cool with it. And then I'd want to buy his lion, or you wouldn't have to buy it because he's dead. I would just take his lions, set them free, where they can live and eat and hunt because they're lions. That's what they want to do. Authorities were not allowed to forcibly remove the lions in the past because they did not have a safe place to put them, nor was there any evidence of animal cruelty. Another reason the animals could have been taken. There's not one zoo in all of the Czech Republic. Is it the Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia? I don't know. Whatever. All of those stupid fucking ethnic cleansing dictator countries from the 1990s. I don't know if it's Yugoslavia or if they're the Slavs or the Czechs or the whatever or the fucking Croats or the Bosnians. All I know is that there were a bunch of moly, weird accented white people killing each other for a while back then, and then we seem to have forgotten about the whole thing. I bring it up every once in a while when I smoke cigars with this Serbian dude down in Hoboken. I'll make a bunch of fucking Slobodan Milosevic jokes, but and he loves them. He thinks they're hilarious. He's a good guy. He brings, I think it's called Raki. It's this fucking Serb whiskey that gets you fucking housed. It goes down like absolute fire. Cool motherfuckers. Last year, Prosick made headlines after a cyclist collided with a lioness Prosick had taken out for a walk on a leash. That incident was eventually labeled as a traffic accident, and that's the end of the article. And what better way to describe Eastern Europe? They don't have anywhere to stow a couple of lions. They don't have any zoos. And if a lion attacks a bicyclist, it counts as a traffic accident. They have so much bad shit going on in that sliver of Europe that they're just like, yes, we'll mark it as traffic accident. Yes, we have bigger problems. We have ethnic cleansing to deal with. Bigger problems than lion running around. Okay, lion kill owner. Good, now we go in and kill lion. Which I don't know if that's more of a Russian accent or what, but that's that. The moral of the story being, if you own a lion and you get in a locked cage with it, you are probably going to get mauled to death. That's what I want to leave you on. Anyway, I got to wrap up. I got to, it's about 6:20. I got to get to work. Thank you guys again for tuning in on the live stream or downloading the podcast. Please, please, please share this with as many motherfuckers as you can. I know the content is vulgar and vile and despicable, but do this because you don't have to share it publicly. You know who the scumbags in your circle are, and everyone has them. So just even if you hate me, if you find me detestable and disgusting, and you're like, you know what, this reminds me of this asshole that I know, he'd probably be into this, just send it to them. Put a couple assholes in touch together. Send this to the assholes that you know. And one more time, you can tag them on social too. Facebook.com/TheSavageCrew. At Mike Montone on Twitter. At Gary_Moiler on Instagram. And you can download the show, thesavagecrew.libsyn.com, or of course go to the top of the Facebook page to find a link to the Savage Sack Tap pretty much everywhere where podcasts are downloaded. Thanks, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next week, and I am tonight recording a fresh episode of Flippin' Out Radio. That's James Flippin's show on RadioMisfits.com, so be sure to check that out, too. I've been co-hosting with him since September. We're having a lot of fun with it, and I'll catch you guys later.